Ever since the beginning of hip-hop, mixtapes have been a huge way for artists to promote their music to the public. In the 1970s, when hip-hop was only performed live at shows or parties, events were recorded onto these small audio cassette tapes, which were the first wave of mixtapes. Eventually, mixtapes moved from these cassette tapes to CDs, which made it a lot more easier for upcoming rappers to spread their music to the public. Artists like 50 Cent and Lil Wayne would release these mixtapes to build hype around their new album, which ended up working really well and boosting their album sales like crazy. After CDs, the internet made it a lot easier for artists to get their mixtapes out, birthing artists like J. Cole with The Come Up and Kendrick Lamar with Overly Dedicated. And nowadays with streaming services, the line between albums and mixtapes is becoming more and more blurry. Mixtapes have always sort of just been laid back, low budget projects for artists to put themselves out there with, but now that artists can upload albums and mixtapes directly to streaming services, a lot of the mixtapes we hear today are so impressive that a lot of them on this list I thought were albums before I researched them more. Anyways, here are what I consider to be the top 20 hip-hop mixtapes of all time. Some of these, when I first mentioned them, you might think are albums, but trust me, these are mixtapes. I was surprised by some of these too. Also, notice how I said hip-hop mixtapes, not just mixtapes, so when I don't include House of Balloons, don't get mad at me in the comments. It would be on the list if it wasn't just hip-hop. Before we get into number 20, let me just give some honorable mentions. There are a lot of honorable mentions that I want to give. I did not realize that narrowing down 20 mixtapes would be this hard, but let me just give a special shout out to these three. Beautiful Thugger Girls, this is one of Thug's best projects. I just can't see it over number 20. Unknown Death 2002, great Young Lean mixtape, again, just can't put it top 20. And Working on Dying by Blade, a great Blade mixtape, I can't put it top 20. Anyways, at number 20, I got If You're Reading This, It's Too Late by Drake. Now, I can maybe see those three honorable mentions above this, but in the end, I decided to go with this project. This is just a great mixtape. I think Drake is best when he's doing trap music. This and What a Time to Be Alive are his best in my opinion, and I wish he would do more trap stuff, but I don't think he's going to. My favorite song off this mixtape is probably Six God, but the whole way through, there is no skips. It's a great mixtape. Alright, coming in at number 19, this might shock some people, and some people might think I'm joking, but God's Father by Lil B. Now, I can guarantee probably 95% of the people watching this have not listened to this mixtape, so before you clown me for putting Lil B on this list, go listen to these three songs off this mixtape. I'm not going to tell you guys to listen to the whole thing. It's like, hold on. Yeah, it's almost 2 hours, so I don't expect anyone to listen to the whole thing unless you really like the songs. But literally, it is almost 2 hours and there's not a single skip through the whole thing. Like, obviously, Lil B's lyricism is nothing special, but this, the production is so good. I don't know how he gets all these amazing producers on here. My favorite song off this mixtape is I Own Swag, but there are so many good picks. Thank you, Bass God. At number 18, we got Icedancer by Blade. Now, I know I already mentioned Blade in the honorable mentions when I said Working on Dying almost made the list, but let me just address the Blade hate. I can understand how people wouldn't like Blade. I can understand how people would think he's trash, but me and almost every other person I know who likes Blade thought that at one point. I used to hear this music and think it was garbage and just think his vocals were terrible, and now I have him like top 15 hip hop. Anyways, this album has his most accessible song, which is Be Nice to Me, so if you never listen to Blade, that's a great entry point. Overall though, if you like Drain Gang and this style of cloud rap, you're gonna know why I put this here. It's just a great project throughout. Has a lot of trap influence too, so I really like it. Definitely not Blade's best, but it's a solid mixtape. Now at number 17, some people might be mad that this isn't higher, but I got Acid Rap by Chance the Rapper. I don't have much to say about this mixtape. The vocals are great, the production is great. This is one of the first projects I ever listened to in full. It's just overall a very solid project, and the fact that he was an independent artist just makes it even more impressive. At number 16, we got Kids Kickin' Incredibly Dope Shit by Mac Miller. Mac was only 18 when he released this mixtape, and it is so impressive to me how he was able to lace each song with crack. You can pick literally any song from the track list, and there isn't a single song that won't make you feel amazing. If you haven't been out with your friends in the summer listening to the Spins or Knock Knock, you're doing something wrong. Even the production is so creative, like on that one song Nikes on My Feet, how they sampled that one small bar from that Nas song and just looped it. So good. The only reason this isn't higher on the list is just because I feel like these next mixtapes have higher highs, but I could definitely see this being one of the most consistent mixtapes on the list. But next, at number 15, we got What a Time to Be Alive by Drake and Future. As I was just saying a minute ago, Drake is amazing when he does trap music, and you add Future into that conversation, and boom, best Drake album. I know that is a pretty controversial opinion. A lot of people think Take Care or Nothing Was the Same as Drake's best, but I don't understand. I think Drake is so much better when he's doing trap music. But yeah, this mixtape has some great songs. My favorite song is probably Scholarship or Diamonds Dancing or Big Rings. I'm gonna go with Scholarships though. A lot of people don't even know this is a mixtape. I thought this was an album until I searched up What a Time to Be Alive and I saw that it was a mixtape. But this is 100% an album quality project and it is great. Next at number 14 by Black Cray, we got Crack Clouds Over Art's Kitchen. This is another another less accessible mixtape, but I still think it's really good. Now, while this whole project is pretty consistent and I like all of the songs, there is one song in particular which is so good, which is why it is so high on this list. If you, I'm begging you, if you have not heard Hydrocodone, go listen to it right now. It is not on streaming services, but it is, I think it's top 10 hip hop for me. This is the most insane production I've ever heard on a song, but just like the Blade projects I mentioned earlier, I don't expect everyone to like this. But yeah, a great project. I think it's a little overrated. I don't think it's Black Cray's best, but it's very good. At number 13, we got Playboy Cardi by Playboy Cardi. When this mixtape first came out, I listened to Magnolia, I listened to some other songs. I liked it, but I thought it was like kind of a joke, so I didn't really take it seriously. But now, this is one of the greatest projects ever. This is definitely Cardi's worst project, but it does have his best song, New Choppa with A$AP Rocky. I don't know how Rocky does it, but somehow he makes every song better and he just murders the verse on this. I'm fully convinced at this point that if Cardi and Rocky made a collab album together, it'd be like top 20 hip hop. Next at number 12, and the 10-year anniversary for this mixtape just passed a couple days ago, we got XXX by Danny Brown. I'll admit, Danny Brown's voice does take a little bit of getting used to, but once you get used to it, it is a great project all the way through. My favorite song is Pac Blood, but there are a lot of great songs on this mixtape. Also, if you like Triple X and you haven't listened to any of Danny Brown's other stuff, go listen to Atrocity Exhibition. It's top 20 hip hop. It's great. You won't regret it. Do it. Anyways, at number 11, so close to making it as a top 10 mixtape of all time, we got Faces by Mac Miller. I don't know how he does it. It's a mixtape, it's top 2 Mac Miller, it's definitely album quality, and one of the best mixtapes of all time. My favorite song is probably Diablo, but there are so many good songs to choose from that I don't really know. This album is insanely consistent. Both Mac Miller mixtapes I've talked about have both been the 2 most consistent albums on this list so far. Very talented man, rest in peace. Coming in at number 10, we're now into the top 10. We got 700 Degrees by Black Cray. Like I said before, I don't think Crack Clouds Over Art's Kitchen is Black Cray's best because I have this above it. I still think Hydrocodone is better than any song on this mixtape, but still I feel like this is overall better. My favorite song on this is probably Stevie J and Jocelyn. Great song. Amazing vocals. If you like cloud rap, check this out. If you don't like cloud rap, get into cloud rap and then check this out. Coming in at number 9, we got Jeffrey by Young Thug. I think this mixtape is amazing. It has some of the best vocals in all of hip hop, and I'd say it's more consistent than both of the Mac Miller mixtapes I mentioned earlier, which is saying a lot. It is so hard to pick a favorite track off this. I'm gonna go with Harambe, probably. Or Kanye West. No, I'm gonna go with Harambe. If you haven't listened to this yet, it's 100% Young Thug's best project ever, and it's great. Go check it out. At number 8, we got Chris Travis with Pizza and Codeine. Now, I just found out about this mixtape like a month ago, but this has been on repeat ever since. I know this is cluttered with cloud rap, but cloud rap has some of the best mixtapes out there. Even if you don't like cloud rap, this is actually pretty accessible compared to some of the other stuff on this list. My favorite song is either Miss Me When I'm Gone or 80 Dime Bags. On this one, I'm not gonna choose a favorite. I would highly recommend checking out these 2 songs, and if you like them, check out the mixtape. You will not regret it. Next, we got not JPEG Mafia, we got Devin Hendrix with the Ghost Pop tape. So basically the backstory to this album is Devin Hendrix is JPEG Mafia before he was JPEG Mafia. He released a bunch of mixtapes which were all pretty good, and then he released this final mixtape called the Ghost Pop tape. Basically, if this project flopped, he was gonna kill himself. If it didn't, he was gonna keep making music, and it did not flop. This is a great mixtape. After this, he went on to be JPEG Mafia and one of the best hip-hop artists of all time. There is also a movie to this mixtape, but don't look into it. Coming in at number 6, we have another JPEG Mafia album with Communist Slow Jams. I know this is really controversial having it above Ghost Pop tape, but I have it top 2 Peggy. I don't care. Everything from the production to the lyricism to the rants in between the songs is just so good. Just like the Ghost Pop tape, this isn't on streaming services. I think you can get it on Bandcamp, but it's definitely worth a listen. My favorite song is Lemmy, which I also think is one of JPEG Mafia's best songs. Alright, now we're into the top 5. Now everything here is like top 30 hip hop and above, which by the way, if you guys want to see me make like a top 50 hip hop albums in general video, let me know in the comments. But coming in at number 5, we got Gluee by Blade. If I was watching this video 2 months ago, I would think that I'm crazy. Blade has grown on me an insane amount, and I used to listen to him just because my friend did and I wanted to sort of get into him, but then I started getting an urge to listen to the music. And now I listen to Gluee pretty much weekly. I would not recommend listening to this if you're not into Blade or cloud rap. It's not accessible, but once you get into this, I don't know how many times I'm gonna see myself saying so good when I'm editing this, but it is so good. Also, the outro Unreal is probably Blade's best song. But yeah, Blade is a top 5 hip hop vocalist and White Armor is a top 2 hip hop producer. Just perfection. Well, it's not, it's a 9, but it's pretty close to perfection. Coming in at number 4, we got Chief Keef with Almighty So. I love this mixtape so much, and he made it at 16 years old. Not only does it sound amazing, the production is great, but the theme and concept of this album is so overlooked. I might even make a full YouTube video just explaining the concept of Almighty So because it's so interesting, but you really gotta go listen to this. My favorite song is Blew My High, which has some of the best production in any song ever. It's heavenly. But yeah, Chief Keef's best project, top 25, 20, I don't know, I haven't really worked out my top stir. Somewhere up there for all-time hip-hop is great. Next, at number 3, I got Live Love ASAP by A$AP Rocky. Now, some people might be surprised why this is so high, but I genuinely don't see any flaws with this album. Now, if you follow me on TikTok for a while, you've probably seen that I said it was A$AP Rocky's worst. I was very wrong. This is definitely his best project. This is one of the best cloud rap projects ever, and it's one of the most accessible, so you guys should definitely go check this out. My favorite song changes like every week, but right now I'm gonna go with Houston Old Head. Also, this has pretty much nothing to do with anything I'm talking about, but Rocky and Lana Del Rey need to create an album together. All their songs together have been amazing. I don't know when else I'm gonna have an opportunity to talk about this, but they need to do it. Coming in at number 2, almost number 1, I could even see it as number 1, we got Monster by Future. I've talked about this mixtape on the channel before when I did my Good AM Monster Theory, which I'll put a thing up there that you can click on if you haven't watched it yet, but everything about this mixtape is just so great. Basically, it deals with the topic of drug addiction, specifically lean, and how it's affected his life. Songs like Throwaway and Codeine Crazy are some of the most emotional hip-hop songs I've ever heard. My favorite song is Codeine Crazy, which I also think is a top 10 hip-hop song of all time, and overall there are no misses on this mixtape. Now, coming in at number 1, lots of people are going to be mad about this. Lots of people are going to be like, okay, yeah, this is the obvious choice. Either way, I'm just speaking my mind. The number 1 mixtape of all time is Ex-Military by Death Grips. I don't even think this is a top 3 Death Grips project, but it is so good. Yes, I know, Death Grips is not accessible, and I can already smell the comments. Death Grips, more like Death Shits. It's not even music, it's just a man screaming into a mic. It sounds like someone's just putting sound effects together in FL Studio. And to everyone who thinks that, shut up. Nah, I'm just kidding. I can understand why people wouldn't like this music. But all the Death Grips fans I know, including myself, used to hate Death Grips at one point and thought it was a joke. So if you hate it, just try to give it a chance. If you're trying to get into it, listen to either this or The Money Store. They are just amazing. But yeah, about Ex-Military, great vocals. The production is just so raw and hard-hitting. Songs like Clink and Tachyon just make me want to walk into a Pizza Hut and rip the chandeliers out. It's just so much energy packed into this one mixtape. And it's so amazing to me how they made this and then a bunch of other projects and didn't make a single bad album in their whole career. I'm just gonna assume their career's over. I've lost hope. It doesn't matter. They put out enough good stuff. But yes, this mixtape is something else. But anyways, let me know in the comments what you thought of this list. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What would you add? What would you take away? I want to hear what you guys have to say. I love reading YouTube comments because it's such a break from TikTok comments because people are so much more level-headed because they actually want to watch the videos. But yeah, I kept my promise. Weekly videos are still coming out. Next video will be out next Sunday. Leave some suggestions for video ideas you want to see. Thank you guys so much for the support lately. It means a lot to me. If you guys want to come hang out with me and ask questions, I go live on Twitch every day at 5 p.m. and I'm pretty active on my Discord, both of which I will put the links to in the description. Thank you guys for watching.